Hello there. The Canon 5D revolutionized photography when it was launched back in 2005. That's almost 20 years ago. I bought my 5D not long after it was launched, and I've used it as my main camera for well over a decade. When it was launched, the price tag was around $3,300 but now in 2024 you can pick one up second hand for less than $200. So in today's video I'm going to break down whether this camera still holds up in 2024, and if you watch till the end I'm also going to reveal one very important mistake to avoid if you're looking to buy one of these on the second-hand market. So let's get into it. So when the 5D was launched back in 2005, it brought full-frame sensor photography within reach of many enthusiasts like myself as well as professionals. Before that, Canon's only other full-frame camera was the Canon 1DS, which was very much a professional camera aimed at professionals with a price tag of $8,000. In today's money, that's around $14,000, well beyond the reach of most enthusiasts or amateurs like myself. So the 5D allowed enthusiasts and pros to experience better image quality, superior low-light performance, and of course the shallow depth of field which we all love, which wasn't impossible, but it was more difficult to get on a cropped sensor because you're standing further away from the subject. It came with a 12.8 megapixel sensor, which by today's standards is very low resolution. So my Leica Q2 for example has around 47 megapixels and the newer Leica Q3 comes with around 60 megapixels. But having said that, the 5D was used by many professional photographers, including many wedding photographers, who took very good quality pictures with it and were able to make a living from that and provide pictures to very demanding clients. So what else was special about the 5D and why would you consider it in 2024? Well, I think first and foremost, the image quality still stands up. Unlike today's modern cameras, some of the older sensors produced a richer, more organic kind of image that you don't really find in today's modern cameras. And the 5D's dynamic range and also color science were really ahead of its time. And although dynamic range by today's standards isn't very good, the colors that the 5D produces, in my opinion, are still fantastic. So what you're getting with the 5D is really a no-frills, minimalistic photographic experience without the distractions of some of the modern technology that you get on the new cameras. So what specifically are the advantages of the 5D? Well, the obvious one, and the reason that I jumped at the chance to buy one, was the fact that it's a full-frame sensor. So before the 5D, I was using a Canon 30D, which had a cropped sensor, and also a 300D or Rebel before that, which also had a cropped sensor. But I had a lot of EF lenses from my old Canon EOS 600 film camera, and when you use those EF lenses on a cropped sensor, you get very good pictures, but you're also missing a large part of the image, which is being discarded when you're taking pictures on a cropped sensor. And so the 5D allowed me to then get back to using the lenses that I knew and loved in the way that they were intended to be used. So the second advantage is the price. The 5D was around $3,300 when it first came out, which I think is well over $5,000 in today's money. So that's really the same price as my Leica Q2. But today you can pick one up for just $200 or even less on eBay, depending on the condition of the camera and how much it's been used. So the third benefit is the build quality. These cameras are solidly built and built to last, and although mine has a lot of superficial bumps and scratches, the body is very much intact and in a very good condition for a camera that's almost 20 years old. And many professional photographers have used the Canon 5D to photograph hundreds of weddings in all sorts of conditions, and by and large the cameras are still working perfectly. One thing to note on build quality though is that the 5D is not weather sealed, so you might have to be a little bit careful in, say, very rainy conditions, although I don't tend to use my 5D very much in the wet anyway, so it's not a big problem for me. The fourth benefit is that the Canon 5D uses the older EF mount lenses from Canon, and I believe that the EF lenses have been around since around 1987, and so for that reason there really is a huge number of lenses available for this particular camera on the second-hand market. I believe there are around over 200 different models of lenses that are compatible with the 5D. And because a lot of people now are switching to the mirrorless RF mount lenses, a lot of EF lenses are actually available for a very good price on the second-hand market. But if you're like me and you already have a very large collection of EF lenses, then that's even better. I didn't have to spend any more money on lenses because I've already got the full range, from very wide to the more standard 50mm lens and all the way up to very long telephoto lenses like my 70-200 f4. And then the final reason really to buy a 5D if you're interested in one is really the image quality. So yes, modern technology has improved a lot in the last 2 decades, but please do remember that this camera, this 5D, was used by many professionals to produce images of very high standard and quality for very demanding clients. And none of the technological advances that have come in the last 2 decades will change that. And although I've never been a professional photographer, I've taken many pictures with the 5D over the years that I'm very proud of. Okay, so those are really the benefits of the 5D in 2024, but there are some downsides that I think anyone considering buying one should be aware of. And so I'm going to list some of the disadvantages that you may experience if you do decide to pick up a 5D. So the first disadvantage is that unlike most digital cameras these days, the 5D did not have any video capability whatsoever. So the 5D Mark II, which was launched around 3 years after the 5D in 2008, was the first 5D that did come with video capability. But the original 5D, the one that I have, does not have any video capability. For me personally, that's not actually a big disadvantage because I really enjoy using the camera as a still photography camera. And even my Leica Q2, which is my main camera today, does have video capability, but I never ever use it for that. For me, it's a stills camera and that's what I focus on. But it may be a disadvantage for some of you who are looking for that video capability. The second disadvantage is the autofocus by today's standards is very primitive. So there are, I think, 9 focus points, but really the only one I ever use is the center focus point. So if I want the subject to be not in the middle of the frame, I put the subject in the middle of the frame, get the focus, and then recompose and then take the picture, which can be quite annoying to do, although once you get used to it, it's not too difficult. Today's modern cameras make it a lot easier with things like eye detection, face detection. You almost have to do nothing but just press the shutter whenever you want. And you're not going to get that with the Canon 5D. The third disadvantage is really low light performance. And again, compared to today's modern cameras, the 5D is not going to perform very well when the light is very poor. The native ISO goes from 100 to 1600, which may not seem like very much. These days you can go to 3200 very easily or 6400 ISO and still get very good pictures with very little noise. But on the Canon 5D, even at 1600 ISO, the image quality does start to get a little bit degraded. But again, if you've come from a film background like I did, back in the day, I very rarely used film with ISO of higher than 400, at most 1600. So these kinds of restrictions for me aren't deal breakers, but it's something to bear in mind. The fourth disadvantage is really the lack of general modern conveniences that you get on most cameras these days. So there's no Wi-Fi, there's no Bluetooth, there's no eye detect, face detect, there's no touch screen, there's no tilt screen. And I think something that is quite important to today's photographers, there is no auto ISO. So what happens is you have to decide the ISO before you take the shot yourself. And if lighting conditions aren't changing frequently, then that's not a big issue. If it's a sunny day, you set it to ISO 100 and then you're good to go for the rest of the day. But if, say, you're shooting in conditions where it's sunny and then it can often suddenly turn cloudy and the light can fluctuate very much, then the auto ISO would be a very good feature to have on the camera, and the 5D doesn't have that. And very important to note also that the Canon 5D uses the older compact flash technology, not an SD card. And while that's not necessarily a disadvantage in itself, it does mean that you may need to buy an additional card reader in order to transfer the images that you take on the 5D to your computer. And it also means if you've got a lot of SD cards, you won't be able to use those on your Canon 5D, although you can purchase a CF to SD adapter, which will allow you to use your SD cards in the Canon 5D. And the final disadvantage, and probably the biggest reason that I actually stopped using the 5D as my main camera, is its weight. It's a very heavy camera. So the body alone is around 900 grams, which I believe is around 2 pounds if you're American. But if you put on a lens such as the 24 to 70 f2.8, which is a very good lens that I use a lot, that lens itself also weighs around 800 or 900 grams, which is almost another 2 pounds. Then the body combined with the lens together, you're looking around 4 pounds in weight that you're having to carry around all day long. And if you're traveling and you've got those lenses plus a few others, that can really use up a lot of your luggage allowance on the trip. And so now in general, when I go on family vacations, I just bring the Leica Q2. It's one camera, I don't have to worry about any lenses, and the whole thing is very compact and very light. Okay, so I did promise earlier on that I would mention one very big mistake that you need to avoid if you're going to look for one of these on the second-hand market. There was quite a serious flaw with the early versions of the Canon 5D, and that is really that the mirror itself wasn't very securely fixed to the camera. So in many of the earlier models, the mirror actually fell off. Now, if you do buy one and the mirror does fall off, you can actually reattach it and glue it back together. And there are YouTube videos that you can find that will show you how to do that. But Canon was well aware of this problem, and they did fix the problem in the later models. So if you buy a later model, then you can avoid the problem altogether, with the mirror being much more firmly attached to the camera and no longer having this problem of falling off after many uses. And one way you can tell that if you're buying a used 5D is to buy one with a serial number that really begins with 3. Some of the earlier models with serial numbers that begin with 0, 1 or 2 are the ones that have this problem. Now, back in the day when this fault first became known, Canon did used to make these repairs free of charge, but because it's now a 20-year-old camera, they no longer offer this service. But what that means is there are some earlier models that have been fixed which won't have this problem, but it could be difficult to tell whether the camera has had the mirror fixed or whether it hasn't. So if you want to avoid it, just buy the later model. Okay, so overall in 2024, should you buy a Canon 5D or not? Well, I think if you're looking for a solid full-frame sensored camera at a very good price, and you don't want to spend too much money, then the Canon 5D is a very good choice. Remember, you can get them for under $200 now. At under $200, it's an incredible deal, and you're getting a lot of camera for your money. And if, like me, you already own a lot of EF lenses, then I think the decision is even easier. You definitely should get one if you don't already have a full-frame digital camera to go with those lenses. If you don't already have some EF lenses, you will have to budget for at least 1 or 2 lenses, depending on the style of photography that you're after. So for me personally, I think that the 50mm f1.8 and maybe the 85mm f1.8 are 2 very good lenses that I would use for portraits, and that's something that I'm missing from my current Q2, which has a very wide 28mm lens which can still do portraits quite well, but you are a lot closer to the subject and perhaps a little bit less flattering in terms of the perspective that you get from such a wide angle lens. And if you occasionally need to do some sports photography, maybe you have a child who is playing football, a wide 28mm lens is really pretty useless. And if you do have a Canon 5D, you will be able to use that with a longer lens, say a 70 to 200mm lens, to capture some of those sporting moments. But you will need to be aware that the focusing is using 20-year-old technology, so it's not as fast or as effective as modern cameras. And so to be very honest, it will not be as easy to capture good sporting images as it would be with a modern camera. And the good news is with lenses is that the EF lenses are very good, but they're also dropping in price because a lot of people are selling them to move to the RF mount lens range from Canon, which is for their more modern mirrorless cameras. So if you are going to buy one, just remember to check that mirror issue that I mentioned and ideally buy a later model. And if you're unsure whether 12.8 megapixels is going to be enough for your needs, please do check out my other video here where I talk about how many megapixels you actually need to produce good results when printing or viewing on a screen. And spoiler alert, you need a lot less megapixels than you might think. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.